Hello! How are you guys doing? Are you here? Are you tuning in? Are you there? If you're there, drop me an emoji, any emoji. Just let me know that you are watching and that you're here and that you're hyped to learn about money and all things financial management and specifically investments. Because if you're like me, the last year has taught you that a good investment is going to hold you down. Nothing has made me more eager and excited about learning how to manage my money better than 2020 and the pandemic. So I know you're jumping in because you want to dive into questions. I have to also say, you guys, this feels a little bit like I'm back to my TV roots. And in case you don't know, I had a show for a couple of years. My name is Sharon. My name is Sharon Mundia. I'm a digital content creator. And so my existence, my career at least, is primarily online. But for a couple of minutes I was on TV. So this feels like I'm back in that space. And I'm joined by Rina Hicks. But before I even introduce her and we chat, because we also have history, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I feel particularly excited and eager to learn about money and the power that it has. I feel like I was one of the lucky few to grow up in a household where money was not a taboo subject. It was not off the table. My parents would tell us that they cannot afford to buy that hot dog that we would be begging them for. We just don't have money for that. So it was very open. My dad would, at an early age, I remember he shared how much he earned. So much so that one time my brother and I felt that we really did feel that we could manage his money better. And so we convinced him, I'm not even kidding, Rina, we convinced him, Dad, you know what? If you just brought your salary home for this month, just watch how me and Jeff and Mom will do a better job of managing. I think we were tired of not having crisps at home or something. We were just like, surely we can have a little bit more. And he, bless his soul, actually did. He brought the money home, and for that month, we were allowed to figure out how to manage it. And we learned that we don't know how to manage money. It's a lot tougher than it looks. But that's what I mean about them being very open. And because of that, even when things kind of went not so great and, there was a difficult time financially for my family, they were very open. And that has led me to the space I'm in now, which is where I'm always eager to talk about money with my friends. Anytime I get to sit down with a financial advisor, I'm like, tell me everything you know, which is exactly what we're going to do today. I've got Rina Hicks here, and she's a woman that I met a couple years ago from interviewing you as a financial advisor and a money expert, I would say. Yeah. But the reason you're here today is also because of your relationship with Africa's Pocket. Now, if you don't know, it is a platform that allows for money discussions to be had. So this thing that's quite taboo, and especially in Africa, in many homes, we don't talk about, they're like, okay, we're gonna tell you everything. We're gonna give you all the tips and tricks. We're gonna bring in experts into this space, and we are going to make this such an open, free space that whatever hang-ups you have, whatever questions you have, they will be answered. And I love that because it's liberating and it allows you to kind of let loose and then get to the heart of the matter, which is how do you make money work for you? And it's led by an amazing team of men and women. And through that, and because they work with experts, then came Rina Hicks.
That's right.
Who's been in the industry for over 17 years.
Imagine.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is insane because we look like age mates. So I don't know what that means. But so you've been in this industry in the financial industry for over 17 years. You are the woman behind Money Wise. You've got a book as well, Money Wise.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about you and whether you've always been Money Wise.
No, I haven't. And I always keep saying this, Sharon. If you ever see somebody speaking about a subject often, and is passionate about it, it's because God is using their pain to fuel our passion. Mm-hmm. So no way. I was born in an entrepreneurial family. I come from an entrepreneurial background. My dad's dad was the first African photographer in Muranga,
What?
And he had photography shops and he was really good. My uncles are my dad's friends are entrepreneurs, my dad's an entrepreneur, my mom's an entrepreneur, but somehow that gene, the gene of managing money and the ability to manage money somehow skipped me.
Mm-hmm. So are they good? Because entrepreneurship does not mean good money management.
So that's a good point, but I would say that my parents have been very good at managing theirs.
So it skipped you?
It did.
In what way?
I can tell you that. In what way? When this journey began, it was when I went to university. So my parents had us really young, and I always wanted to go to uni abroad. And it was like, we're very close in age. My siblings and I are only 2 years apart. My brother and sister are twins. So as you can imagine, paying for tuition in school, high school, university is almost like all at the same time for all three of us. But I was like, no, I have to go to university. And my parents are like, fine, what we'll do, we shall pay your tuition fees. We'll give you upkeep for 6 months. After that, you have to find a job to pay for your upkeep. And I was like, surely how easy? How hard could it be out there? Easy stuff, I'll get it done. And so I left armed with 6 months of my expenses. But 4 months in, I had finished all my money. You can imagine all these different things that you're exposed to that at home we were not. McDonald's and KFC and all these other stuff that we never got to eat here.
Wait, 4 months in, you have no money?
I have no money.
Wow.
4 months in, I had no money. I had $3 in my account. 3.
And you can't call your parents?
I can't. Well, I ended up calling them, but it was like, I don't know what to do. But it took me a while to call them. This took me a while, was a couple of weeks, because I had to try and figure out what do I do. So I finally found a job, but it wasn't coming quick enough. I started trying to figure out what to do. In the meantime, I didn't have food to eat. And so for like 2 weeks went around pretending I'm looking for homework, and what did we do for homework, and just to find out, not really to find out about homework, but really to get food to eat.
Like going to your friends?
To my friends' apartments in student housing. I lived in student housing. Trying to see, how was, how did you do this? Just to stay long enough for dinner.
Wow.
This one day, I hadn't had lunch, hadn't had dinner, hadn't had breakfast, hadn't had dinner the previous night. No breakfast, no lunch. It was now supper time. Didn't have food to eat. Went to bed and I couldn't sleep. Woke up, went to the kitchen, trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? Open up my cupboard, hoping some elf or something had left something for me to eat. And there was nothing, just this tin of coffee. So I took a cup, boiled coffee, and boiled it. Boiled water, poured it in, and ate that. Drank that. As I was drinking, my eyes sort of just went to the bin, and I saw an over-toasted slice of bread, and I ate it.
Wow.
And after eating that, when I finished it, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
How am I eating from the bin now?
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, what am I doing when I wake up?
In Australia.
Oh my God.
Without family.
Wow. Anyway, long story short, my parents sold a business. They were in a very challenging financial season. That thing affected me so much, Sharon. I said I will never in my life end up in this situation. It's not even about wealth. It's just being able to know how to manage the resources that I have.
Because you had the money to last you the 6 months, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they worked so hard to ensure that I have that money available to me to help me run through those 6 months, get a job, settle down, and be able to be comfortable. But I just. So that journey led me to start figuring out, okay, how do I do this? How do I manage money? I always used to find others, they never run out. How come I keep running out? Sort of got hungry. And as I went on with my life, I was attracted to people who knew how to manage money. And so I'd ask them questions, they'd share with me books and share with me content, and I'd be like, I was so hungry. And then eventually learned and ended up doing a finance degree and came back home and would be so concerned about my clients. I started working when my second job was now in the financial services sector, and I found myself always so interested about my clients. Okay, so you're buying these shares, but what else do you have?
Right.
How does this fit in? You're selling, and then what are you going to do with your money? And so I'd spend copious amounts of time with my clients trying to help them out, that they'd call me, oh, could you speak at this church? Could you speak at my youth group? Could you come to my chama? Could you come to? And so I started speaking.
And I have to say, I think that's something that I noticed about you quite early on, that it's not just very hard facts where I'm just like, oh my goodness, where's my calculator? So 3% of the stock, and it's never quite that. You make it feel accessible and palatable, and I can understand it and within my grasp.
Yeah.
And I think that's what even makes me particularly excited about Investable, which I might as well just ask you to tell me a little bit about Investable and what that is, because that's something that I've taken a little sneak peek. They've allowed me to go behind the curtains. And what you've put together, I think, is so important, because there's a lot of people who are struggling. They've been able to save a little bit of money, but they don't know where to take that money now. And then with the waves that we got, quail eggs, and then no land, no M-Pesa shops. What do we do once we've saved a little bit of money, and how do we invest it? So what is Investable, and how did you and Africa's Pocket come together to put that together?
So let me start with Investable and what it is. So as I said, I started with this journey. Now my journey has continued to grow, and as I've continued to grow as a person, I've experienced different investment opportunities. I've invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I've invested in land, and I've invested in people's businesses. I have lent money to people. I have lost a lot of money in the process, and it's been a very interesting journey investing for myself. And I've been like, how is it that me, who's done, CFA level 1, I've, been in all these different forums, I've done my master's, I've done my degree in finance, I've done all these different courses, and I understand money and how it works and the numbers. How is it that I'm making all these different mistakes? And in my journey, a couple of years back, I understood the mistakes I've been making. And oh my God, it was such a light bulb. I was like, my goodness. And this person who wrote this book said something like this: the problem that we have with most people, in fact, it says 67% of investors chase returns. They want to make money so much that they forget about safety. That it's about, well, okay, the land is making money now, and okay, real estate is happening, and now it's cryptocurrency, and it's Forex, and it's all these different things, that we start chasing those things and we forget about our safety net. And really what we're supposed to do is have an adequate safety net so that your assets do these three things. One, ensures your basic needs are covered irrespective of what happens. Two, you're able to maintain your current standard of living for the foreseeable future. And then lastly, your assets need to give you an opportunity to create wealth, substantial wealth, so that you can achieve your dreams. But what we tend to do is focus on the third. And what that does is you chase returns and you lose money. You buy land you've never seen, you don't use lawyers because you're trying to cut on costs, and then you get conned, right? So you join a chama, you don't have structures in place, you contribute money every month, you don't check what's happening with your investment. 10 years later, you're trying to sell, you can't sell. So we do all these different things to generate a lot of wealth, but we don't take care of the safety elements. And so I started to understand that thinking about how to create wealth requires me to have a framework. When you look at different investment companies, whether that's asset management companies, hedge funds, pension funds, and all these different things, they have frameworks that they use. All these different successful investors don't just, put money anywhere. You have to think through the process, and that's what Investable does. Takes you from understanding who you are, what are your values, what's important to you, what are the different earning curves, because it's without an income, Sharon, you can't save and you can't invest. How do you finance your lifestyle? And then when you move,
and I have to say, I did get to the part in the course where you talked about the earning curve, and I was like, I need to be on the third one. Everyone needs to be.
Everyone does.
Which again, that's why you need to get on the course, because it was such a light bulb moment. But you don't think about, you just kind of assume money will figure itself out, and it just comes out of nowhere the older you get. But that, if you haven't planned for it, you don't have the structures, which is what Investable is doing. Then how are you going to get to that earning curve?
So as I learned all these different things, I was like, I need to put this in a course. I guess that's just who I am and how God wired me. Whenever I learn something, I want to share it, and I want to tell other people about it, whether that's on parenting, whether that's on whatever it is. So it's been 5 years of me desiring to put together a course. And as I was in this space of trying to figure out who do I talked to at least 3 other different people. And then Valentine Joroge of Africa's Pocket just somehow in that season called me and she said, can we have a conversation? And we spoke about the opportunity that Africa's Pocket had found and what they were trying to do, to basically educate people on how to manage money, to grow their wealth and so on. And she said they were looking to develop something around investing, and I was like, this is perfect. Because I have content that I've been learning and working on in my own life that I want us to be able to help people understand. And so that's how we partnered, because I know nothing about IT. These guys have, they're just fantastic people who understand money and not just tech, but they understand money, they understand tech, and just how to educate people about money. And so we thought, why don't we do this together? So I decided to start this program in partnership with Africa's Pocket.
Which is Investable, which we'll get into later as well, and give more details, how you can access the course, how much it is and everything. But I want to jump in now with a question that I have that I think a lot of people will also have. I also kind of saw some comments, because I did put on my Instagram, if you have any questions, shoot me the questions now, because I'm sitting down with Rina Hicks. And my question is around trying to secure an education for my child.
Okay.
And I know there's many parents watching right now. I've got a toddler, and I'd like to know that her education has been sorted, not just high school or even uni, but even for the next 5 years. And I think the pandemic has taught us that you can think that, it's only high school you need to worry about, and then something happens and you're like, maybe next month we also need to worry about that too. So where do you start? Is it an education policy? Trees, I've heard about trees. I was convinced, I was even kind of brought into something around, like, just plant trees now, 10 years later, all those trees, that's your high school fees. So what would your advice be there?
So let me just get into the framework a little bit using your situation. So the first area that you start is to check, first of all, we have different needs, right? It's not just your child's education, is it? You need to pay rent. You need to make sure there's lights on in your house, that you have water, that you have fuel in your car. You also want to be able to do the different things you enjoy doing.
Travel.
You love to travel.
Lamu.
I don't know whether you like to get your nails done, your hair done, I don't know. But that sort of stuff.
Just a little.
Stuff that makes you feel fulfilled and happy and joyful. Those things are important as you live through life. So then you have your dreams that you want to be able to achieve. Maybe give towards a certain cause, whatever that is for you. So even as you think about your child's education, it's within the context of all these different things. But the most important thing that we must think about is, besides education, what are the other must-haves that you must make sure is taken care of? So first of all, do you have an emergency fund?
I do.
Fantastic.
Is it where it should be? No. But I do have an emergency fund, and I have a couple of money market funds that help with it, like towards like education, and then also like insurance type policy stuff. So like a life insurance.
Yes. So those all go towards your security or your safety net, right? So you have an insurance policy, you have an emergency fund that you're building towards to be bigger, hopefully to 6 to 12 months. Now, education is also now the third. So an education policy is important. Why? Because you want to ensure that if something happens to you or your income, your daughter's education is paid for. The education policy is an insurance policy that you take with an insurance company. And they promise to pay you either at a certain point in time or upon your death. They will pay your beneficiary the amount of money. It is not the only plan you should have, though. That one just covers safety net, right? We're just making sure we're secure. But that's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. In fact, you don't even want to put a lot of money in your education policy. Why? Because the returns are not great. They're not great. So it's like taking an insurance policy to ensure you have a safety net. You can write notes. I want to write notes. So it's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. I met somebody who said to me, I'm good. I've invested. I have 4 policies for my 4 children, and I'm good. I'm like, It's not enough. Because the sum assured is probably maybe 5 million. 3 million, depending on the amount of money that you're putting in. But do you know, Sharon, my husband and I sat down and we calculated how much would it cost for us to take one child, we have 3, one child through education from kindergarten all the way to university. It's about 20 million shillings. So all through, obviously it's not 20 million at once, but the amount of money you actually end up spending.
Per child or all of them?
Per child.
Oh, Rina.
I'm telling you. And so do you know what happens? You will sell land.
You
will borrow money.
And
in the process, do you know what that does? It prevents you from that ability, which was the third one, to create substantial wealth.
Which is what your parents did, which is what my parents did, you said, right? When you were trying to go to uni, it's like you find yourself wanting to give your child the best.
Exactly. So the challenge is that then you end up eating into your potential future wealth when you don't plan adequately. So those trees you're talking about, by all means, right? Because that helps you with your aspirational desire or your dream for your child to go to whatever university they want to go to or desire to go to. So if it's La Roche in, where is that? Switzerland.
Okay.
If she wants to do culinary
Oh,
arts.
yeah, I'm thinking wherever. Yeah.
Or she wants to go to design school in France.
Yeah.
Or Paris, wherever it is that she wants to have the, higher education.
Yeah.
Then you have money available. If she wants to go to SIU, great.
That's good too.
You can pay, or Nairobi University, that's fine too. But you have the money available through doing different things. So you can't do one thing. So there's the education policy, there's your trees, you could probably even invest in real estate, you could invest in the stock market, you could invest in a treasury bond, but you have to, because you don't know which one will work out and not, and which one will not. You might invest in trees in 10 years, there's 6 million Kenyans who have invested in trees, and so there's so much supply you're not able to sell, or the price has come down so significantly you're not able to make the amount of money you want to make. You get my point?
Yeah.
So you can't rely on one thing.
Yeah.
You have to diversify.
So no putting all your eggs in one basket. You can't just say an education policy is it. I'm done.
Exactly.
It will figure itself out.
Exactly.
Oh, that's really good.
And that takes care of not just your child's education, but your safety net.
Yeah.
It takes care of the things that you want to do to enjoy life, as well as your dream.
So can I ask you a slightly personal question? Is that what you've kind of done, given that you, with 3 children, because I'm only thinking about 1 child, but I imagine then with the second child, with the third child, is that what you've done as well? So you've just made sure to diversify and make sure you have as many avenues as possible to secure you when that time comes.
Yes. So what we did with our first child, we took an education policy.
Okay.
And when we reviewed it, we felt the amount of money we put in that education policy is enough. Because, I think we don't need to add more to it. Because again, as I said, it will be too much money that then the cost is high because of insurance. And when insurance is high, then the returns are low. So what else can we do? And so we invested in real estate, we invested in the stock market, so that we are able to generate money from elsewhere to take care of those needs that we have in the future.
Because when I think of 60 million, I'm just like, Rina,
really?
I think honestly you should just say goodbye and just like, listen kids, it's been great.
But you know what the crazy thing is,
Kidding.
Sharon?
Kidding.
The amount of money that passes through your hands
is a lot. When you think about
it.
How much we spend on nails, on hair, and if you put that aside, I can only imagine what that gets to. Like if you were to tell yourself, all right, I might not do my nails, maybe not forever, but like if you were to dedicate that amount to saving and putting it away, I imagine it really adds up.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. In fact, there's a question I got some time back. I'm 20 years old, I still have time, but what should I invest in? I'm like, you're 20. In fact, I'm like, okay, let me just get you the math.
Okay.
If a 25-year-old, just a 25-year-old, decided, you know what, I'm going to invest in the stock market. I hope I find this thing really quickly so that I can give you the numbers, because I think it's important.
25. I just turned 32, so I'm already 7 years off the mark.
You're 7 years. No, by the way, this is not to discourage you at all.
But I know it's going to be one of those, like, if a 25-year-old started today.
I know.
In X amount of years, and I'm just like, I'm 7 years.
Oh my gosh,
away.
I'll find it. But, let me just give you the rough figures, because I can't find it right now.
Yeah.
If a 25-year-old invested 2,500 shillings every single month at 10%, per annum for 35 years until they're 60, they end up with about 7.8 million.
Wow.
About 7.88.
Yeah.
I think I remember the number now.
Yeah.
If they decided, you know what, let me just increase that to 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay. 5,000 shillings every month at 25 years, 10% interest. They don't withdraw the money, right? Every single month. In 35 years, they will have 17 million.
Whoa.
17 million.
Yeah.
Move that to 35.
Like a 35-year-old.
For a 35-year-old,
yeah,
to get to 17 million, they'll need to put in 10,300 shillings.
Which is now just getting like,
I mean that's more than double.
Yeah, with all the other bills you have, you might just be like, 10,000. It just feels like a harder amount to get to.
Yeah. If a 45, I'll get to 45 soon. I mean, if I decide to start now, do you know how much money I'll need to put in?
Yeah.
About 40,000 shillings.
Just that.
When a 20-year-old, 25-year-old is putting 5,000.
Yeah. Start, guys, just
start now.
Start now.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you're going to take from this, it's start now, invest in yourself, and take as many tips and resources, have access to as many resources as possible if you can. Just make sure you tap into it, that's why I love Africa's Pocket, and the fact that they just continuously are sharing many tips, money-wise as well, in what you do. Like, I love that. And I love the idea of liberation, and especially, I'm just going to put it out there, especially women in Africa. I just love the idea of women having the financial freedom to live their best life, to make their choices, to have agency over what they want for themselves. Gosh, nothing gets me going like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to now jump into questions that we had, because there was a lot of them. And if you've got questions too, please just hit us up. I am going to be getting them in, so don't mind me if I'm on my phone. But the first one that came in, which makes sense because actually we've even talked about it briefly, is what is a money market fund?
Okay.
Yeah.
So a money market fund is an investment that usually is offered by an asset management company. And what they do is they pool funds together from different investors. So they pool these funds and invest these funds in very safe investment opportunities. So they'll invest the money in banks as deposits and negotiate a good interest because they're investing a lot of money. They'll also invest in treasury bills, which are securities that are offered by governments who are trying to raise money for their day-to-day operations as governments. The treasury bonds, which are similar but longer term, and what we call corporate bonds or commercial paper. So companies look to borrow money from the public to be able to finance working capital, to grow, to expand. So a little of that money is also invested, for some of them, is invested in corporate bonds or commercial paper. Because they want to be able to make returns. So they diversify, but in safe opportunities. So if they're investing in companies, these are solid companies, not, fly-by-nights, right? It's very solid, mature companies that are not likely, but are really going to pay back the money and have good cash flows.
Oh, wow.
So
but you don't, as the person opening an account, you don't have to know all the ins and outs of that, right?
Well, you don't need to know the specific companies they're investing in, or the specific bonds they're investing in. They won't even tell you because that's a trade secret.
And what I was even asking is that I don't have to keep up and be like, oh my goodness, I'm really just trying to run a school here, but I have to keep up with, so I don't have to.
No.
Because I was also thinking, if you said yes, I would have failed because I've never looked into it.
You don't need to worry. You don't have to look at it. You just keep saving it there as long as the company that you invest in is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have to be regulated because you don't want to get into a company that's not regulated, because with the regulation, they stipulate what kind of investments you can invest in. So it's fairly safe. Yeah. Right now, the average return that people are getting is about 9% per annum.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I've heard so many people talk about it. I kind of feel like it's a great place to start putting money away to earn some interest on, and then maybe try and see and pursue other investments too. Would you say that's correct?
Yes. So I use it for two purposes.
Oh, okay.
One is for your emergency fund.
Which is what I was advised to, and where my emergency fund is.
Yeah. So instead of putting it in a bank where you're going to get 6% or less, you're better off ensuring that you invest it in something that gives you a bit more but is also safe, which is what the money market fund does. Wherever you put money, it's important, especially if you're looking to grow your money, that you're able to invest your money and get more than inflation. So inflation in Kenya is around about average 6% at the moment. So if you're not earning 6, you're actually losing money from a purchasing power perspective. So it's important to keep that in mind. So money market fund is good for two things. One, emergency fund, and the second one is to park money for being able to take advantage of opportunities.
Okay.
Just today, a friend of mine called me. We've not talked in a long time. And he tells me, there's this opportunity that has come up. You have to take advantage of it. I'm like, where, what, how? And, and I was just lucky that I had a bit of money in my account. And I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And it was just, a very quick one of these opportunities that don't come very often. Yeah. And I was able to take advantage of it because you have to have money available for these opportunities. Opportunities don't just sit and wait until you're ready.
Yeah.
They come, they're always opportunities though. They're always opportunities, but they come and go.
And you have to be ready. You have to be able to meet it at the right time. Otherwise you'll be like, gosh, if only I'd started saving.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, a slight detour, that this is live. I've actually just seen a friend go like, how is this live? But I've seen a cut. like, I guess, jumping between. And it is live, so please send in your questions now. This is not pre-recorded. Mark, okay? Literally, send in your questions now. So if you've got anything for Rina, I'm just going to go through some of the ones that we'd received previously, which were I think it was like in the 100.
There were so many.
There were so many.
Oh my.
There were so many. Okay, I've got another one here.
Sign up for Investable.
Sign up. And sign up for Investable too if you want to know more about that.
Actually, we have a link that my fantastic, amazing team has put on the inbox. Is it inbox chats? That place.
Okay. Yeah.
On the timeline.
Yeah.
That if you click on that, we have a free downloadable blueprint with content that's actually free, and you can join the wait list. We open the course on the 25th of March.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the meantime, you can be reading the blueprint. It covers, a very interesting content that you can start to learn about, and also join the wait list for this program.
Yeah. Okay. Check out the link. I'll say that a few times too, just in case anyone misses it and just joins us. But check out the link. I want to preface this question by saying that I remember when, I think it may have been the first or second time I interviewed you, because you've been on the show a couple times, and it may have been the first, and we were talking about budgets, spending plans, and I remember saying something like, "Oh, but Rina, we do live in a country where majority of people are earning less than $2 a day, so it is a little it's impractical. It's almost unfair to expect to tell someone save, because what do you save if you don't have any?" And I remember your answer and your response was so positive and so like, no, why have you decided that you have no other ways of earning more income, that you are going to only earn that amount per day, that you can't find a way to just put some money aside? And I remember thinking, oh my God, her spirit is just so, you can. You're not going to tell anyone you can't. And so this question is, it just reminded me of that moment, and I'm just like excited because this is Rina. How do you invest when you're earning as low as 20,000 shillings per month? How do you start when you're starting from zero?
Yeah. So, what you just said is so true. Because when you're at that stage, when you're earning 20,000, let's assume her expenses are 20,000. And so she has no margin, right? So she has no other income to be able to put money elsewhere to save. I read I don't remember when it was, but this quote has always stuck with me, and it says, the reason you are where you are now is because of what you believe about yourself.
Oh, Rina.
Yes.
I feel like we need a moment. What do I believe about myself? Yeah. Oh God, the reason you are where you are is because of what you believe about yourself.
Correct. If you believe you are worth more than 20,000 shillings, you will earn more than 20,000 shillings. So let me tell you, it begins with how you think and what you believe about who you are. It starts there. I remember, I don't even know where I shared this story, but I remember I worked at this place, my first job. And at this particular point in time, I earned 25,000 shillings.
Okay.
And this other colleague, we just got talking. I said, by the way, how much do you earn? And she said 60. Sorry, what? 60. And I was like, oh my gosh, how? But we kind of do the same thing. How do you earn 60 and I earn 25? That's like more than double what I earn.
Yeah.
And she said, but I asked for it. And I was like, what does that look like? And I went home and I thought about it, and I'm like, my goodness, she has such confidence in the value she is bringing.
Yeah.
That it's not, what do I do if I earn? I am going to earn more than 20. I'm going to earn 50. I'm going to earn 100. What am I going to do to be able to offer value so that then I'm able to earn more?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you, whether it's in your business, what value are you offering? Whether it's an employer, what value are you offering your employer so that you earn more? Don't just get stuck, I earn 10 and I'm sorry, I can't save. How can you earn? Because without an income, Sharon, we can't move. And we have to change our mindsets and what we believe about our abilities. If you need to go back to school, there's free courses online. Yeah, ever heard of Coursera? And people like those online, edX, free courses that you can improve yourself, grow your talents, improve your craft. And as you improve, then you're able to charge more if you're a freelancer. As you improve, you're able to do more and generate additional income. So I'd say, don't think about what you can't do. Think about what you can do. What can you do to move from where you are to the next level? And guys, you have to take responsibility of where you are. Nobody is going to come and fix your money or fix your life or fix your relationship. You have to take responsibility yourself to decide, today, I'm starting to make a difference about that issue. Because unless it changes here, I'm sorry. There's nothing anybody is going to do to help you. It has to first begin with your belief system. Yeah.
I feel like I just went to church. I'm not kidding. I feel like there was some therapy session. There was like an awareness of self there that you need to reckon with. Like what do you actually believe you are worth?
Yes.
What where do you place your value, and how much of yourself are you willing to expand and grow and be able to move so that you can shift into the next space of your life.
Absolutely.
I don't even know where to go from there, but I feel like that question has been answered so beautifully. Okay. Oh man. All right, let's or maybe we should even just touch a little bit about the course now. Maybe at this point you could share a little bit, because I do think part of what you're talking about when it comes to adding value and what you can do to leverage your talents can come from like just feeding yourself with the right knowledge. And in this case, I think if you've got some money that you've put aside and you're trying to figure out where to start when it comes to investing, a course like this would be a great way, or a great place to start, and a great way for you to kind of leverage on other people's experiences and 17 years of you being in this industry and understanding what mistakes have been made and how to avoid that.
And having made them myself, actually.
And having made them yourself too, which the way you're speaking, I'm just like, but what are those mistakes?
I'll give you one
example. Okay.
So several years ago, I love theater. I don't look it, but I love theater.
Okay.
We were involved in a theater company. That's how I got to, get to really know my husband. He was a production guy. Very good one, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I digress. So I go to this theatrical production, and it was fantastic. It was awesome. And I was like, this is fantastic. I loved the guy who wrote the script. I thought he did a fantastic job. So we go outside, and I'm like, you guys did such a great job. And they knew what I did, because we were in the theater scenes, and guys knew that I love theater, but I'm also in the financial industry.
Yeah.
So they said, oh, by the way, actually, we'd like to speak to you. When can we come see you? So they came, saw me, told me how they want to expand what they're doing, put it on video and do all these different things, but it will cost them some money. Now, it just so happened that they wanted to borrow the money for 10 months only and pay it back at 20% per month.
Oh.
Because they were going to make such huge returns with what they were planning to do. And I was listening to these, and my alarm bells just started to go off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, wait, send me the numbers, send me your accounts, let me just see where you're at.
Yeah.
And so they sent it to me, but my alarm bells were just ringing. I'm like, this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And I had just sold a car. I had just sold my car,
Yeah.
and I was saving to buy another one. So I was just seeing the picture of the new car I'm gonna have. I used to have this old, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I'm like, how can I do this for myself? So they came to me for me to find them an investor.
Yeah.
But I started processing it as myself.
Yeah.
And so I started getting excited, because this is a guy I knew. I knew his home. I knew his parents. And I was like, there's no way these guys can run away with my money. And so I took, long story short, we signed agreements or whatever, because I was like, lawyers need to be involved. Signed agreements, lent them the money. It was 500,000, everything that I had between me and poverty.
Yeah.
And I lost all of it. All of it.
Oh,
they
boy.
only paid me 20,000 shillings. I can't explain to you what that did to me.
What do you mean? From 500, you got 520,000?
No, I got 20,000 shillings back. I lost 480,000. I went to lawyers. I went to a lawyer who said, we need to sue these guys. I need my money back. But the lawyer's like, by the way, even if we sue them and they don't have, what do we do? Oh my God. And when we went through the process of the lawyer, because he started trying to arbitrate the process, that's when I got the 20,000.
Wow.
That was the biggest lesson I learned. And the lesson is this, with regard to investing. Number one, there's something called risk, which we tend to ignore. Number two, don't lend money to friends.
Oh.
Give what you can afford to lose.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah?
Give.
Give what you can afford to lose.
give what you can afford to lose. I've heard you say that before. Yeah. Give what you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
Don't lend.
Don't lend.
480,000.
And I mean, I was in my 20s.
Oh my goodness.
Had no other money. I ended up having to buy a car and paid for 2 years for that car from my salary.
Oh, Rina. So don't be Rina circa 2000 and don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. So tell us about. So let's talk about Investable. How does someone access the course?
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
Okay.
What does it mean?
Yeah, so
for
this
someone
course,
to be able
first
to
of all, is
jump on?
fantastic. Let me just tell you, because we've taken a long time to think through what does somebody need to go through investing. Used models that we believe work because they are tried and tested. So first of all, let me just sort of build to the pricing, yeah? By beginning by explaining what it is.
Yeah.
So you begin by, first of all, understanding what you were talking about earlier, the earning curves. You know, what are these earning curves? How can I make sure that I earn money and it continues to grow? And even as I'm 80, I'm not looking at zero and leaving my family in debt, but leaving assets that continue to grow even long after I'm gone. How do I do that? And then next, understanding your why and your values and the importance of understanding who you are and what is important to you, so that as you invest, you're investing alongside what's important to you. A lot of people ask me, you know, I know what I need to do, but I can't. How do I get more disciplined when it comes to my finances? Unless you understand what is important to you and why you're doing what it is you're doing, discipline is like exercise or eating right. You will notice people who've gone through an illness. You know, doctor says if you don't eat right in the next 1 year, you'll be dead. Guess what? You will eat right even if you've never been able to do that all your life. So it's the same concept. Dave Ramsey, who I just absolutely love, says success in your personal finances is 20% knowledge, 80% behavior. Where do you think the behavior comes from? From a complete, absolute understanding of what is important to you and why, your big why. You must know what your big why is. Then we move from there into understanding what investing is. We define what investing is, you understand what it is, how it works, we understand what risk is about, and then we go into understanding how do you then set goals, and what we have a framework on how you set goals, and then we move from there to understanding what the different asset classes are. Asset classes are different investment options, what they are, from stocks, bonds, real estate, alternative investments. And you know, how then do you align those assets so that they meet your goals, right? And then we also have bonus content, and the fantastic bonus content is a slightly over 1 hour interview with a real estate expert who helps you understand how do you take advantage of real estate in 2 areas. 1, if you're constructing and selling. 2, if you're buying off plan. If you don't have a lot of money, where do you start? How can you take advantage of real estate so that then you build wealth using real estate? So the course is that, and then we have downloadables, we have exercises, like even to discover your values, we have an exercise that you go through to be able to discover those. So for all of that.
And weekly, did you talk about that? Weekly
Yes,
session?
oh yes.
Yeah.
Very important. Thank you for raising that. We have a weekly Q&A session where we sit with all those who are on the course and go through question and answer. So we have a brief overview of what we covered that week, and then have the Q&A session every single week.
Which means essentially you're having a one-on-one moment with a financial advisor.
A group.
As a group, as a group, not one-on-one, but you
Yes.
then get to pose any questions that you may have had surrounding the topic based off of your life, and see if there's anything that you missed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So for all of that,
Yeah.
we're giving it, selling the course for only $200 if you buy it between 25th of March and the 29th of March.
Okay. So early bird tickets.
$200.
Yeah.
But the value of the course is actually $250. So it's the $200 is a discount for those who come in early. After the 29th, it's going to be $250. We close the course on the 6th of April.
Okay.
So after 6th of April, unfortunately, we close.
Yeah.
We want a nice intimate group that can do this together. And we'll have the course running maybe 2 times this year, but we'll close it for now. and then have those guys go through the program. Then we'll reopen it at a later date.
Yeah, and it's about a 5-week course.
It's a 5-week course. So we recommend you take 5 weeks. So it's self-paced, but we recommend you take 5 weeks. It really should take you about 2 hours a week. If you can dedicate 2 hours a week to it, it'll be a good amount of time for you to be able to formulate your own. And at the end of it, Sharon, you will be able to come up with an investment plan that is intentional based on your values and your goals.
Yeah, I get that. I've got a question here from YouTube, which is great. And it's from Masanja, and she says, "Hi ladies, thank you for this session. Please talk a little bit on ways that non-Kenyans can invest here in Kenya."
Okay.
Are there any opportunities that would, feel safe enough for none? Because I've met also expats saying, "I just don't know where to start," and especially if you don't know the ins and the outs, and it feels like where do we begin?
It's a great question. So the options where they don't need a third party, like a relative, to go check out stuff for them, you can open an account with a stockbroker and open a brokerage account where you can invest in stocks or shares. You can invest in treasury bills. You can invest in treasury bonds, right? You can also invest in money market funds. So you might find that, especially as somebody in the diaspora, while you may not necessarily spend money in Kenya shillings, in the US, of course, or in the UK, or wherever it is that you are, but you help the family out once in a while. So instead of always sending money and saving it in the US and an account where you're earning 1%, you could convert your money to Kenya shillings, or even keep it in US dollars, send it to Kenya, invest it either in USD or in Kenya shillings. And as it's growing and the returns are great, then you will use the money to then finance whatever it is you need, whatever expenses you have locally. If you want to give towards your mom or expenses in a certain family, you're able to do that quite comfortably.
And so that would be a better option than maybe some of the hype-based investments or popular options that come up here and there. So for instance, if everyone was was trying to get like goats so that you can sell them off, or trees even, so that you can, be able to sell them 10 years from now, or would you say that that's a safer option for non-Kenyans, or maybe even for people who are abroad, Kenyans but living abroad, for them to invest without worrying about, did Uncle John really buy that piece of land? Or is that, because I'm seeing imparting a lot on these days, so is that a safer way?
It is. So financial assets is what we call them, are safer than going into agribusiness.
Okay.
Like starting a poultry farm or getting into real estate. That might be more challenging. I mean, I've heard of people who have sent huge amounts of money to build a home. They come back and what they find, they're like, the pictures that were sent to them were something totally different.
Oh gosh.
And they were ripped off their money.
Wow.
Or the quality of the stuff that was used to build a house is not good, and things like that. So where you are required to be involved in the investment process, like heavily, physically present, I would not recommend those for people who are not frequently coming to Kenya.
Okay. Eunice asks, kindly talk about bonds, and is there a minimum you need to start with?
So I don't know whether to go back and define them. I had, so maybe you can go back and watch that. Once the video is up. And so let me go straight into what the minimum is. So you would open an account with the Central Bank of Kenya if you're investing in treasury bonds. And you would open the account with Central Bank of Kenya. The minimum investment amount is 50,000 shillings for regular bonds. But there are some bonds that are called infrastructure bonds. And those are bonds that are issued by the government for the government to be able to invest in infrastructure. And so they usually give an incentive for those bonds because they're tax-free. For those particular bonds, the minimum is 100,000 shillings. There's a bond that the government launched, I think about 3-4 years ago, called M Akiba bond. The M Akiba bond is an infrastructure bond, but it is distributed from the mobile phone. They currently don't have an issue. They opened, after 3 years it closed, and investors got their money and interest back. But that's another option. The minimum on that one is 3,000 shillings. But it hasn't reopened. But the regular bond is 50,000 shillings.
Okay,
minimum.
Got it. Is it advisable to get a financial, would you advise someone to get a financial advisor to help manage your wealth?
So it depends.
Okay.
I recognize that we have different personalities.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
There's some people who are just, by the way, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at my accounts. I can't. And so if that's your personality and you really must have someone help you, then it's fine, but you have to keep checking. I always say that you can never rely on somebody else to make you wealthy. I mean, when I look at, I don't know anybody who's like that. Like, when I look at all the wealthy people that I know, they know how to read bank statements and financial accounts, and they keep up, they're friends with their accountants, and they know their money. If you want to know somebody wealthy, not want to know, but when you talk to somebody who's wealthy, they'll tell you what they did in terms of turnover last year. They know what they lost and how much it is and how they lost it. They know their numbers. But people who are kind of struggling or just sort of cruising, they don't know. So getting a financial advisor to manage your, I struggle with that, but it's my personality. And so if you try it out and see if it works, but you're adding additional costs. Yeah. And it doesn't take that much. And that's why, because I feel that way, I started Investable. For people to understand, imagine this thing is so easy. Once you've gone through the process of understanding what it is you want to be able to do and what your goals are, just decide to invest in options that don't require too much involvement, that you can check up on every so often, and then form relationships with those people where you've invested. Then that way, you don't have to feel like every week I have to check and every month. It's not that crazy. Yeah. You know what, actually that's made me remember, I remember having a conversation with someone and they were explaining, if you stopped and asked someone who's employed, can you tell me a little bit about your pension? Most people would not be able to tell you anything. They wouldn't be able to tell you what percentage it is that they're earning an interest on, what that percentage interest is, where they are at now. You kind of just leave that to the gods, like someone's just going to sprinkle fairy dust once you're old and things will settle themselves, or that maybe your family will take care of you and you won't be your own problem. But I remember them even asking me, and I could not tell them. I was just like, I don't know, it's just money that my employer takes out of my salary that, I don't know, you can get it out? You can actually ask for better interest rates? No, you can't. You can't. Oh, you can't. But let me explain pension.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think it's one of the most misunderstood, and you know, the numbers are so, make me sad.
Yeah. In what way?
Let me explain the numbers. The Retirement Benefits Authority said that, this was in 2017, the CEO said 80% of Kenyans are retiring poor. 80.
Oh my goodness.
Unable to meet basic needs, yani they need help. 80%. Do you know that in Kenya, only 15% of the adult population have a pension? 15, 1-5.
Adult, but wait, that's over 18? Yes. Adult is over 18.
Over 18.
Is that what they're talking about? Like only 15% of people aged over 18 have a pension.
Out of those, Sharon, 70% have an account with less than 1 million shillings. So you just tell me, how long will it take you to spend 1 million shillings when you have no income coming through? Yeah. Like it's a sad state of affairs.
But that's assuming that your pension is, that account is the only thing that you've sought yourself out for.
But do you know what it is about pension that makes it great?
What?
The fact that you get tax incentives.
Okay.
If you contribute up to 20%, you get that contribution free of tax. Yeah. When you're withdrawing your pension, you don't pay tax when you withdraw after retirement, which is I think 60 years. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that? The third thing that is so amazing about pension is that even without that interest of 3% or 6% or whatever it is the pension asset managers will make, even if it is low, and I agree, in Kenya our return is really
dismal.
I mean, it's nothing to write about.
Yeah.
However, because your employer is contributing and usually matching what you're contributing, when you put your money in pension, you're immediately making double. Because your employer is contributing. So even if you make 1%, you've already doubled your money. So it's a no-brainer. Yeah. I went to a company where the HR told me, I don't know what to do. People are not signing up for pension. It wasn't compulsory in a company.
I thought it's compulsory.
In some companies, it's not. You can opt for it. And they said, for us, we match 1.5 times.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? So if you give 1, we give 1.5 times.
Yeah.
What you've contributed. So you're making 150%.
So I can decide how much I'm putting for pension, or is there a maximum that
there's a maximum? Okay. So most companies will have a maximum that you can put in. So I mean, you can put in as much as that is allowable. So max it out is what I say. Max it out because there's a tax incentive. You get a tax relief on your tax, as well as when you're withdrawing at the end, you have the money. The reason is it's a forced saving, and then you don't know what's going to happen between 25 and 60. Right. We don't know what's going to happen. And so if you can get to the stage where at 60 you have a huge lump sum that you're receiving, then I mean, you can use that money for so many different things. So if you contribute like 5,000, you end up with 17 million. Yeah. Right? At retirement, you can, if you put that money aside and said, I'm going to sign up for what we call an annuity with an insurance company, you will earn about 170,000 every single month passively till you die. Wow. It's a no-brainer.
And at that point, like that's really good. You're just like, okay, where are we going? Where are we traveling to next? Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh.
And that's not, it's not the only thing you've invested in.
Yeah, and that's not exactly.
It's just like a small amount. You're probably paying 6% of your earnings.
On top of whatever other investments and passive income you'll be getting. Yeah. My good friend, Patricia Kiharo says here, I'm a good saver, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that we are not good for time. I think this might be the last 5 minutes. We have, So I'm a good saver, but have no idea where to start in terms of investments. And I'm not even sure who to trust. Yeah. How do you establish a relationship with a financial advisor and trust that they have your best interests at heart? Yeah. So because we're in Kenya, we have financial advisors who call themselves financial advisors, but are different things. Financial advisors. Right? Okay. It could be somebody who's in real estate, someone else who's in insurance. We have all kinds of, Yeah. So unless somebody is regulated or certified, I would be like, So I think try and instead of using financial advisors who cover many things, so first of all, what we're doing on the course is help somebody understand this is your, these are your goals. These are investment options you can use. And we even have case studies, by the way, I forgot to say that. So that when you look at a case study, you're able to understand, okay, this is what they did. They invested in this and in this and in that to solve this. This relates well with what my situation is. I can do that. Now, with those particular investment opportunities, you need to speak to investment advisors who understand those areas. So I want to put my money in stocks. Speak to a stockbroker or financial analyst who works at a stockbroking firm. I want to invest in treasury bonds. Speak to somebody who understands treasury bonds. I want to invest in real estate. Speak to real estate experts who understand real estate and have gone through the process. Unfortunately, we don't have, or at least I haven't met them. And when I do, I'm going to post it somewhere and have a recommended list of advisors that you can talk to who understand globally everything that you can do. Right. So it's a very fragmented market that we have people who understand very well certain areas. And I'd say speak to those, but don't expect one advisor to sort you out with everything. And that you also need, I think, to take ownership. And and always check out Investable, which is a space that would have other people who are trying to understand their investment options better, and you could have that camaraderie, that community and camaraderie to just check on each other, hold each other accountable, because everyone's like set up in micro groups too, right? So you at least have someone to hold you accountable, and you're not sleeping and like just thinking, I'll do the course next. Let's just push it again. I think we've run out of time, and we have a million more questions coming in. Even on my own, like I have questions about like, wait, so if you're self-employed, where do you start with pension? And when you talked about the CD market, like I have so many
oh my gosh, maybe we can do it another time. We can find an opportunity. Maybe what you can do, I'll have a webinar, by the way. I will have a webinar. When? I think in about a week's time, a week and a half. And I will announce it. And so what we can do, you can send me the questions that we've not answered. I know there are 1,000, but I can try and sort of weave them into my presentation as I'm teaching this. And I can also use them to decide what do I teach at the webinar. So I can have this one bonus thing that I'm teaching for free. Like from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And I'll pick one of the questions that are there. Maybe you can help me do that.
You're such a giver, Rina. You're so like, look at you just being like, no, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. I have to say, like, this to me is one of the most exciting things that that someone could take time to invest in themselves in. And I know that we often, and especially in my line of work, a lot of what we talk about are like really fun things that just make life a little extra special, a little extra fun, whether it's like a trip here, some great like makeup tips here and there, like just lifestyle bits. But I do think when it comes to the core of things and the heart of the matter, there's nothing like the freedom that having your finances sorted out gives you. Like just knowing you can sleep and there's just something that you've tucked away that you know is growing for you. And so if ever there was something that I really do think is worth investing in or taking time to learn, to understand, to research, to stock, because also Rina and Africa's Pocket have a lot of resources that they've put out there for you to be able to access for free. I think take the time to just learn, to ask, and in this case, I guess, to invest in yourself and learn as much as possible when it comes to Investable.
Yeah. I think the last thing I would say, and it's the reason for my living and my being, is the fact that we are all created to do amazing things. Every one of us, irrespective of where you were born, what you've gone through, where you are now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We were all created to do amazing things. And there's a great plan for each and every one of us. The thing that stops us is having or being in a perpetual state of stress and anxiety because of money. Because of money. Money can actually prevent you from achieving your purpose, achieving your highest calling, and achieving the things that God put you on this planet to do. And so don't let that be the thing. I dream about a day when we will have financially secure families on this continent, in a country where the government needs to build, I don't know what, from here to Ethiopia. Kenyans are funding it. They're not going to Europe for some Eurobond. Kenyans are funding it. That's my desire, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I will continue to speak about being able to grow wealth, because we have to get there, Sharon. We must.
And it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. You talked about the download, the blueprint that people can download, and that the link has been shared, whether you're watching this on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Instagram. There's going to be a link that's there that you can just click on, and you get a free blueprint, which has lots of tips and kind of prepares you for what's to come.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
No, thank you.
Sign up, guys. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and 25th, you get early bird tickets, early bird prices at $200, and then thereafter it goes up to $250. So take advantage of that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye. Oh, Rina.
Thank you.